The start of it would be, I was about 8 years old and I had started drinking. A friend of the family had started giving me alcohol. They had begun to sexually abuse me, and I guess they done that to kind of make me incoherent, not realize exactly what was going on. By the time I was 9, I knew how to make mixed drinks. I was drinking regularly, several times a week. And by the time I was probably 11 or 12, started giving me other drugs, just like nerve medication, and it gradually got to worse things. It ended with like morphine, and then eventually I got myself into heroin. By the time I was 14, I had became an IV drug user. But my drug use, it started back with the sexual abuse. I was trying to mask everything and just felt like I had to put on this front, like everything was okay, and I'd act like it was all okay with my family. I'd act like everything was okay in school. So I just had to put on this mask, and I just wanted to cover up all the pain that I was feeling. I felt like there was something wrong with me, like I was tainted, like I had brought it on myself. Well, I ended up getting in trouble at school. In 9th grade, I'd got caught drinking and doing drugs at school. So I got homeschooled, and I started getting drug tests weekly through my family. And that put me in a worse situation because I found out ways to get through everything, get past everything, and just started using drugs more and started drinking more. And where I was not trusted at home alone, they gave the friend of the family more contact with me. They had him watching me. So that just kind of made things worse on me. A couple years after that, everything came out in the open, and we had to go to a lot of court dates, and that was extremely hard on me. I still have to contact the judges every now and then and write letters or statements on why I feel that they should not be released. After all that happened, I just continued with my drug use. It started getting heavier because I felt like everything had just been opened up, and I felt shameful. I felt like I had this mark on me, like everyone could see what had happened, what I'd done. I felt like I was dirty and just used and not worthy. And I felt like everyone just seen something that was broken. I ended up getting into trouble when I was 18 for underage consumption, public intoxication. And I got put on probation, and I got off that probation early. I paid off all my fines and everything. And I didn't get drug tested too much because I just had a surgery, so I continued my drug use throughout that. I ended up getting in an abusive relationship. I was in it for about 7 years. I felt stuck in that one. I was working for his aunt, and I felt like if I left him that I would lose my job, and that was my source of income. That's how I paid for my home. I worked graveyard. I would clean office buildings, and that made it to where I didn't have to deal with people, so I could just do whatever I wanted while I was at work. All of this kind of went in with my depression and my anxiety. It made it to where I didn't associate with people, and I just stayed hidden in the dark. And it was like I was unseen. No one seen me. No one had to deal with me. I didn't have to hide anything from anyone because there was no one to hide it from. My depression had got so bad that I had started cutting myself, and I was just waiting for the last day. I was just hoping that something would happen to where I wouldn't wake up. I ended up getting into a lot of trouble. I caught a lot of charges. I went to jail, got put on probation for a long time. And I continued to mess that probation up. And finally, I was given an option to stay in jail for a while, or I could go to rehab, and I chose to go to rehab. And I went to Memphis, and I done From the outside view of it, I was doing fairly well there, but on the inside, I wasn't accomplishing anything there. I wasn't dealing with all the problems that was inside of me. I never talked about the sexual abuse. I never talked about the physical abuse. I never talked about my depression or my anxiety. They just gave me medicine to mask everything. They gave me medicine for my anxiety. They gave me medicine for my depression and for me to sleep. And they gave everything some fancy name. And in all reality, I just needed to deal with my problems. I had chaos going on inside of me. My life was just a big storm, and all I needed was something to calm it. I didn't need the medicine. I just needed to work through some things, to deal with some things. I'd been dealing with all these things since I was 8 years old and had never spoken about it. And it just kept growing. It was something that was taking hold of me. It was taking hold of my life. It was making me the person that I was, and that person I did not like at all. I was heartless. I would rob my best friends. I would do whatever I had to do to get what I needed. Well, I ended up messing up in the treatment program. After about 7 months, I failed a drug test, and I got kicked out of it. And after that, I just kind of ran off. I didn't know anyone in Memphis, and I just took off for a couple weeks, and finally I was done. I was just ready to go back to jail. I didn't want to live the life I was living no more. That was my breaking point. I should have died a couple times, not just there, but even in my past life when I was younger. I shouldn't be sitting here today. I ended up getting a hold of my family, and they came and got me from Memphis, and my mom found Abundant Hope. And they asked what had happened in the previous treatment center, and I told them. And even though I'd got kicked out of another treatment center for failing a drug test while I was there, they still seen something in me. They still let me come to this program. They wanted to give me a chance to prove to myself and to everyone else and to them that I could do this, that there was hope, that it can happen. I can have a better life, and I can be something more than what I was. I can be something more than what I seen myself as. I can be a lot to others. I can be a lot to myself. I can be a lot to my family. Since I've been in this program, I've changed dramatically. I'm no longer depressed. My anxiety is gone. I can actually sit in the room with people. I go to big crowds. I'm actually talking about stuff that I've went through that I've never spoke of. They've helped me find God. That was something I was not open to whatsoever when I got here. I was so mad at God. I resented God, and I had so much hatred. But that's what saved my life. The difference in the person that I am today and the person I was when I got here is I strive to help other people. I just want to encourage other people. I don't want to ever see anyone in the situation I've been in. And if I can help in any way, I will. I can actually talk about God. I can talk about my problems. I can talk about my past. The smile that I have is finally real. It's not a mask and it's not a front. This place has changed my life.